Hello and welcome back to the Pocket Network Podcast, a podcast for real estate professionals like you to innovate your world. I'm your host, Margarita Petrosian, and each week I sit down with professionals from the industry to discuss hot topics, common challenges, and so much more. This week I have Harout Aloyan with me. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
You are a licensed realtor. Is there anything else that you do in the real estate industry?
Within the real estate industry, I have a background in finance, so I try as much as I can to give as much advice as I can, raw advice.
Yes, I saw on your Instagram that 11 years you were a bank manager.
Yeah. I started working at Wells Fargo Bank at the age of 18, and I really progressed at a speedy rate. So I was an assistant manager by the time I was 20 years old, and then branch manager. And so great experience, no question about it.
Very impressive. So with that background, I'm sure that you can advise your clients when it comes to picking the right loan officer, to picking the right loans even.
You know what it is? It's very interesting because I always tell people picking the right loan officer is not as easy as, the commercials make it out, seem to be. And what I mean by this is, you go to an auto broker if you want a car. I mean, a lot of us, I'm not saying everyone does, but a lot of the people go to auto brokers, right? We support our local small businesses, but they tend to get the better deals, right? I always walk into a dealership and say, hey, listen, why is it that you can't beat the broker's deals? Why can't we just cut straight to the chase and beat it? I've come to learn there's more happening behind the scenes than what's actually shown to us. So even the brokers or brokerage or loan officers that get the loans approved tend to get somewhat of a better deal than if you were to just walk straight into your Chase, Wells Fargo, and numerous other.
Yeah, that makes sense. If you have a person in there that you always give your business to, then they will make an effort to make sure that you're chosen versus anyone else.
I think they know a little more than we do, and I think they know the ins and outs, and they can get better rates. So but I think working with several different loan officers kind of gives me an idea of who's going to be the person that's going to come through, and depending on your scenario, whether you're a stated income, a borrower, or full tax return. So scenarios are different, but I've come to learn like the larger banks, they're very conservative in their lending guidelines. So it's very like cutthroat, boom, boom, boom.
Yes.
You don't fall into that, you're not their client.
Yeah. And I'm sure even if you were working with larger banks only in however many years it's been since you've been working in a bank, I'm sure the industry has changed. The numbers are changing regularly, and it's really hard to catch up. So your job allows you to obviously keep in that circle, but your customers also can't expect you to know every single little trade secret in that area.
What's funny is I think that clients are looking for the know-it-all realtor. It sounds negative when you say it like this, but I'd want to work with a know-it-all realtor. I'd want to work with a know-it-all auto broker. I'd want to work with someone that knows, it all. And I know that's impossible to know it all, but we want someone that knows as much as they can. So that's one of the challenges, that if a client throws something my way, for example, and I don't know the answer for it, it kills me inside. I mean, I'll look at them, I'll put a smile on my face, but I'm thinking, how can I get the answer for this client? So each time that they throw a question my way that I don't know, it just kills me inside. I'm super competitive, extremely competitive.
So how do you answer that to make sure that they still feel confident in your capabilities, but that you're still very honest with them?
I think when I compare myself to the average realtor, I know a heck of a lot more than the average. There's no question about it. There's a difference between cockiness and confidence. I'm just overly confident in what I know. There will be details that I would look into that the average, realtor wouldn't look into. A lot of times realtors, when they sell a house, they go through an inspection. I dissect the inspection report like there's no tomorrow, and I'll, call the experts in each field and say, hey, listen, I know there's a crack in the foundation. Tell me how the crack takes place. Tell me what the remedies are. So I'll begin to learn, read. So by the time I run into another scenario, a similar scenario, I know the ins and outs of it. So if they say, "Hey, Ruth, what do you think?" I say, "Listen, from my last experience, this is how much I think it's going to cost." But then again, I'm not a licensed contractor, nor am I an inspector. So I always guide them to, do their own inspection. But I know that I'm right deep down inside.
Well, real estate agents, I feel like even though what you're there to do is sell a house or buy a house for them, I've heard from so many people that that's literally not even half of what you do on a daily basis. You're their friend, you're their champion, you're their therapist when need be, you're their divorce lawyer sometimes when it comes down to helping them split up the house or whatever it is. So I think with realtors, that's one of the professions where if you talk to them, they kind of really do know a little bit of everything because of the diverse array of people that you get to meet in different types of scenarios. It's not always the same type of person you're selling to.
You know what's funny? Two things I learned working at the bank: you don't mess with people's families or their money.
Yeah.
And real estate is their,
it's their family and their money.
It's the largest investment that they have. So it's not easy choosing the right person, especially when there's divorce scenarios. I've been through a lot of them, unfortunately. A lot of great people that just didn't see eye to eye, and it's life. It happens, and most importantly, they move on, and it's important that everything is very calm. The scenarios are very calm, doesn't get out of control. But the houses that we sell, like even in the scenarios like you said, like they're getting a divorce, you can't go in there about money. The moment they feel that this is about money, in terms of, let's just sell it for a little less, but sell it faster, that way you two can go on with your lives. The moment you make it about money, you've lost their trust, you've ruined your reputation, and so many things follow after that. So I can't agree with you more. It's more than just real estate, because real estate is about, here are the numbers. This is what your home is valued at compared to X amount of properties within the area, but it's more than that. They don't want to just hear that, a lot of times. And I think great realtors, they push the envelope. We've seen a lot of homes that have shocked a lot of neighbors. That home sold for X amount, really? They're shocked. Why are they shocked? Because that realtor pushed the envelope. I mean, maybe the homeowner themselves didn't believe that the home was worth X amount, but they pushed the envelope. So I think that is what a real estate agent does. A little bit of everything.
Sure.
When you summed it up, you did a great job.
For sure. Yeah, real estate agents really do it all. And then also on top of all of that, I've been seeing a lot of small businesses right now on Instagram. There's that new trending sound of, I have a small business, so I have to make content, because it's so stressful. The reason they're complaining about it is because having a small business is busy enough on its own. You are your own boss. You are your own coworker. Sometimes you don't have that support, especially as a real estate agent. Sometimes it's just you. Even if you're in a team, you can't be relying on them 24/7. So to have to do that and create all the content that you're going to post on Instagram, I know that's also such a huge obstacle, and outsourcing that is great. So for your Instagram, it looks great. I've actually seen the transition recently, how your videos have changed, even the photos that you're putting up, the templates have changed. Are you doing that all yourself or outsourcing?
So the editing of the video is outsourced. It's not cheap. I'll tell you that much. Yeah. But you always see I have a videographer that does the videos, and sometimes you do it in one take, sometimes you do it in 2 takes. The drive time, this, that. So I would say 75% of it, I knock it out myself. But one thing that I didn't want to do, and I see this happening a lot, I don't want to bash on people, because that's not who I am. I drank Red Bull, by the way, before I came here. I needed it. Yeah. Okay. So if you
you're fine.
Yeah, clear my throat. It says thank you, Red Bull. And I had a Twix. It was my first chocolate of the week. I'm supposedly on a diet, but nevertheless.
It's okay. You earned that one with today.
Yeah. It was a special occasion, so yeah. I knocked it out. But I see a lot of cheesy posts. I think this gets on my it gets on my nerves like there's no tomorrow. What do you mean by cheesy posts? I'll tell you, and this one's going to get you. Okay. I saw someone put on their IG post, I'll be working limited hours this weekend. Okay. But I will resume to normal working hours on Monday. Have a great weekend. Okay. Unless you're an agent that is ranked, top 20 in, the nation, don't feed me the whole, I'll be working limited hours. You're trying to tell me that if I call you and say, hey, I need to sell my house outside of your limited hours, that's going to pay you $30,000 commission. You're telling me you're working limited hours?
Yeah.
See, agents like that, they fake it till they make it. And the words fake it till you make it, whoever has said it or continues to preach it, I think they should stop.
You don't think it works?
Fake it till you make it, it doesn't, because I think at the end of the day, the truth still comes out. See, I can tell you that I personally think I'm one of the best out there. But the only way for you to test if I'm one of the best out there is to actually put me to the test.
Yeah.
How are you going to do that? You're either going to call me and say, hey, Harout, listen, I need an off-market property. Find me something within this neighborhood. And I have to break my back to try to find it.
Or you
number
can
one.
log on
Number
to
two.
the Pocket Network and find a pocket listing.
Or I can tell you that I know, houses inside and out. You can slap a, inspection report on the table and say, Harout, dissect it. The truth is going to come out. I can tell you whatever I want during this podcast, but if someone watches this, and if you're watching this, test me.
Yeah.
If someone watches this and they want to test me, the truth will come out. So fake it till you make it. It doesn't work.
Yeah. I think in real estate, I have heard that a lot. A lot of people say sometimes in real estate, you do have to fake it until you make it. You have to fake dressing up and going places and acting like you have so much business that it's all you get to do everything. That part I definitely don't agree with. But then with the scenario that you're giving me, I feel like it's because they know that they're not going to be posting any of their work for a while. So they want to act like they're busy. And so people that are looking for social proof aren't being discouraged and saying, maybe I shouldn't even give her or him a chance because she's no longer posting on social media.
You know, it's funny. A lot of the agents would contact me saying, Harout, can I post your posts? So can I post the houses that you have for sale? I said, sure. So
your listings or the houses that you're selling? Yeah,
my listings. Okay. So the ones that, the client called me, hired me to sell their property. I'm the listing agent.
Okay.
They would call me and say, Harout, can we post that on our Instagram, right?
Yeah.
To have more content, to make it look like they have multiple listings as well. So first few times I said, sure. And then I got a call from the homeowner saying, Harout, I hired you.
Yeah.
Why am I seeing my house on someone else's IG? I said, they're just marketing it too. They said, no. If anyone wants that house, they're going to contact them. I didn't hire them for their skills. I hired you for your skills. So from that day on, I took a step back and I said, guys, don't post my stuff. Yeah. And if you do, somehow, some way, make it known that, this is X, Y, and Z's listing. But I see, the thing is, I have friends and family that also obviously have social media. So sometimes when we sit around, they say, hey, listen, has this person ever sold anything? I'm like, who? I said, why would you say that, right?
Yeah.
They said, well, all I see is videos. And then when I'm clicking on the house, it's not their listing. So if they catch you slipping once, it's hard for you to convince them that the last 20 listings weren't theirs as well. Yeah, faking it that way, I've never seen that, but also I've never looked into it. I just assumed that no one would do that because I just wouldn't. I wouldn't think of doing that. But so again, I definitely agree with you. But then again, look, how many people Photoshop their arms, legs, whatever the case may be. Yeah. The whole being you, I think is gone. It's not 100%, but it's always an act. It's an act, and I think that's the people's problems. I have several team members that called, Harout, can you mentor us? And, what do we do? I said, be yourself. Because whoever hired me for me. Whoever hires you is going to hire you for you. So if only my way is the right way, that means no one else should have business. I should be the only agent selling homes. But they hired, that girl for her personality. They hired that guy for his personality. Everyone has something that attracts someone. So be you, because the moment you try to be someone else, it's done. Like, for example, hard to keep up. I had someone that sent me a DM, asking a question, and naturally you look at their IG post, right? So I looked at her arms. Her left arm was thinner than her right arm. And it's not a deficiency of any sort or medical. Yeah. I can see the straight cut on the Photoshop. Yeah. Straight cut. Like literally chopped off half the arm. Yeah. Automatically, you look at it, that whole page to me is a goner. Yeah. Imagine as a realtor, you fake all these posts. If the truth comes out for these are also some very confident people to try to use Photoshop, because Photoshop is really
really hard. I've tried using Photoshop for some of our business photos, and they look very, very obviously Photoshopped until we hired someone to do this work. So at least they have the confidence. Maybe that's something to work with.
People don't even use the iPhone camera to take photos. They use Snapchat because it has the filters.
Yeah, I am 100% guilty of that.
Yeah. I mean, listen, there's things that you can do. There's things that you shouldn't do. If you're using a filter to clean up the shop because the lighting angle might not be right, or the sun is too strong, or it's not strong enough, or there's not enough light, X, Y, and Z. Great apps out there, night apps, day apps, whatnot. But when you're chopping off, half your arm to make you
at least do it on the other side too.
It's best not to do it at all. And if it's something that's bothering you so much, then maybe you should do something about it. You know what I mean? But and take a healthier approach. I don't think that's a healthy approach.
Yeah, for sure. That just all that does is change the way you see yourself.
It's a temporary satisfaction.
Yeah, for sure. So for social media, so all of that aside, for your own profile, do you use that to generate leads, or is that just to show people that you're still out there, that you're still working?
I think that with every post, we hope that it generates leads.
Yeah.
Does it always work? No.
But you are seeing it work for you.
Mine is more word of mouth, but one thing that I do more than anything else is cold call and door knock.
Okay.
So obviously, those of you who don't know what door knocking is, you literally knock on doors to try to get business. You get some nasty stuff said to you, but nevertheless, you just keep going until you get something nice. But door knock and cold call, when I first started out, in real estate, obviously no one knows you, there's no referrals, nothing coming your way. So what do? I picked up the phone, took a, list of, 600-700 people, call after call. And then I just started perfecting the way that I introduced myself. Some people call it an elevator speech, right? You have X amount of seconds to impress the person. I started coming up with a strategy that worked. So it reached a point where, like my first year as a realtor, I sold, I believe, 17, 18 houses the first year. And I hadn't met over 50% of the clients.
Wow.
So I sold their home and I never met them.
That is incredible.
Yeah, they moved.
So are you contacting them over the phone, or it's just phone. Oh wow.
They sign via email, DocuSign.
Yeah.
I never met them.
And you're top 1% nationally in your company.
Within Coldwell Banker, top 1% in North America. Yeah.
That is incredible.
It's a great achievement. It's a great feeling. And I think that whether you're in the 1% or not, I think that if you see yourself moving forward, whether it be financially, whether it be just volume wise, whether it be, gross wise. I think a lot of people have this misconception of, top X amount percent or whatever. There's several different categories, and I'm glad you touched on that, because I want to touch on that for like 12 seconds. A lot of people claim, hey, I'm top, but if you really look into it, they're part of a top team.
Okay.
So they make it look like they're top. So they'll say, top 1% team. But the thing is, they never sold a house.
Oh wow!
The team sold a house.
That is sneaky.
That's like joining, a championship team.
Yeah.
And saying that you won a championship, even though you were benched throughout the entire, game.
You've contributed
the whole season.
Nothing.
Yeah, you contributed absolutely nothing, but yet you joined the team just to earn the title.
Wow.
So it's very important that agents who see other agents like this don't get discouraged. To say, hey, you know what? I can't believe that person did it, and they've only been in the position for 6 or 12 months. How can why? But when you really dissect it and look into it,
and most people don't have the time to really look into that. Like, I would never even think of checking those.
Hopefully after listening to this podcast, you guys are all going to do it, because it discourages a lot of people.
Yeah.
Obviously, you shouldn't care where anyone else is at. You should just focus on you. But I think after a while, even on social media, when you're constantly seeing people that have these perfect skins, the perfect, hair, the perfect makeup, whatever it is, they're showing that it's perfection. I think at some point or another, it gets to people. So with real estate, but even though obviously that's not what it actually is, even with real estate, it's the same thing. So whoever is looking into that stuff,
it's not what it seems.
It's not what it seems at all.
Yeah.
I convinced myself to kind of go toe to toe. I wanted to do it one-on-one, meaning that I didn't want anyone on my team. I wanted to reach the top, being
by
the top
yourself.
By myself, no contributions from any agent whatsoever.
So you still don't have a team?
Right now, after I reached the top 1% in North America, I got a few phone calls from, agents who wanted me to mentor them. So now they're, a part of the team, and I'm mentoring them. But before
And
that, I
what do
wanted
you
to kind of
think?
reach it for anyone.
Yeah.
So people don't say, hey, you did it with, no, I did it with
Yes.
nobody.
It's all your own hard
I never
work.
shared a listing, nothing. I just wanted to prove it to myself. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
I think some people can start off real estate with a significant other, a friend, family, cousin, uncle, whatever it may be. It's absolutely fine. I just think it was a competitive thing.
It was just for your own peace of mind.
Yeah.
So now that you have a team, do you see the benefits of having a team? Do you feel like you could achieve the higher numbers more easily, faster, whatever it is?
I think it's more complicated than that, because if you, for example, I have, over 14 listings right now, on the market, and I'm only one person. So if we need to have an open house for those listings, how can I be there on a Saturday and Sunday at 14 places? So that's where the team comes in.
Yeah.
So you get a lot of benefit in terms of, manpower, right?
Yes.
You get a lot of benefit from that. And then obviously you can co-list with them. And if they get a lead, you can co-list with them and increase the sales that way and the income and so forth. But there's also a catch here. If a client comes into an open house or meets one of your agents, or you refer a client to one of your agents, if they're not ready, and that client feels that they're new or they're not experienced enough, we might lose that client. So just because I wasn't there on that Saturday at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, whatever time it is, that person couldn't really sell the house. And some people say, you don't have to sell a house. The house sells itself. Not necessarily. No. If I sit there and talk
in today's market.
Well, I mean, not to all clients. If I sit there and tell you, hey, you know what, there's a beautiful open floor plan, kitchen's been remodeled, so on and so forth, they're going to be like, thank you and have a wonderful day. But some clients, they will be discouraged until you say, hey, you know what, copper plumbing's been changed. The ADU potential is X amount of square feet. Your water slopage is X amount, so it's going to be cheaper on you. You don't have to do the rain barrels because it's facing an alley or whatever the case is.
But that comes with experience.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't think of saying half of those things, because for me, it's like, it's a nice kitchen, it's a nice bathroom, you should buy it. Yeah.
So, and my point exactly, I think a lot of people do that, and it does work because they can only see what they know. They're not going to make things up. But I think what separates the salesman from the top salesman, I think, is that extra,
it's your
fire.
job to be able to communicate to the client what they can't think of right now, to tell them in the future, you're going to avoid these costs because this has been done already. Yeah.
And my mentality is this, one of my clients started calling me the closer. He said, Harout, you just closed every single deal that we sent your way. So they just started nicknaming me the closer. And I just kind of went with it. I said, hey guys, from now on, I'm going to call myself the closer. My goal by the time that I finish with a client is I want them to have met no one like me. I don't want to have competition. Yeah. They can never take a client away from me and say, hey, you couldn't do it. We did it. And not that there's anything wrong with that, because I've taken a lot of other agents' clients, not that they were, but on my side, I'm so competitive that I don't want any of my clients ever, going to another agent, because that'll make me feel like I failed them or I failed myself. So
you are your own competition.
I think that knowledge is power. We used to read it a lot in schools, the library posters. We said, it's just a poster, with Michael Jordan on there or whatnot. But in this business, definitely knowledge is power, but confidence is also plays a key. But the problem that I see with a lot of agents now is they're overly confident. And they have a lot of, they're overly confident, but not as knowledgeable. Yeah, they're presenting themselves. Yeah, they're presenting themselves as call me, I'll get the job done. But then when you ask them hey, can I build an ADU there? They're like, you might want to maybe, call an engineer, but the engineer is not the person that you're necessarily calling to find out. They'll be like, call your plumber. Plumber? That's like calling a heart surgeon for, something that, a chiropractor would do, So it just doesn't make sense. Yeah. I look at it, I know what's going on. And in my head, I'm laughing because I would never dare to post anything like that. Like even in real estate, you have the commercial side and then the residential side. I don't risk to say more than I know in the commercial, sector of it, because I'm not an expert yet in commercial, so I tend to focus on residential. Until and when I know, I won't say anything. That's why on my social media, you'll never hear me talk about, commercial loans, and I don't go too into depth because I'm not an expert.
Yeah, and I think that's the best approach. I get it that a lot of people want to seem like they always have the answers, so the client is confident and keeps going back to them. But sooner or later, the client is not dumb. They're going to figure out that you are not giving them the right answers. If you do refer them to someone else, and they go and they realize that, hey, that was a simple referral, and you sent me to someone who can't actually help me, I highly doubt they would stick with you. It's not a small transaction. They're not buying a shoe from you. Yeah. They're buying a big investment. It's a huge home that they will be paying off for 30 years or more for some people.
Yeah. And I don't think people realize this. They think that it's a paycheck, and you see people, driving around in luxury cars or spending their money on name brand things. And they say, I should be a realtor,
Yeah.
It's not that easy. You're messing with people's families. You're messing with their finances. So you can't just put them into a house and grab a paycheck and then go to Cancun. It's not that easy. It's more complicated than that. And I think the people that really take it to heart are the ones that end up getting referrals, but the ones that take the shortcut, they don't really last long at all.
Yeah, and your client's not going to remember to refer you if it was just a quick in and out transaction for you. If you made an effort to sit there and make some sort of connection with them, then you're not only more memorable, but the client feels like they want to do some good for you too and refer business to you.
It's funny. I was 16 years of age, I believe 16 years of age. My parents bought a house in North Hollywood. I don't want to give the agent's name, but the agent sold my parents a home. But a few years passed by, then we got a foreclosure letter because they did a negative AM loan, back in 04, 05. Yeah. So I come home, my mom's, tears, running down her eyes, and my dad's smoking, stressed out. My dad would sell, fruits. So he would go to Fresno, get the fruit from there and then deliver it to the local markets here. Hard work and how much you paid back then. And my mom's was a nurse and is still a nurse at Glendale Adventist Medical Center. So we're pretty much losing the house, right? So it piqued my interest, real estate at that point. So what I did is I studied for the exam, and then 18 years of age, I went and took the exam. And on and off here and there. So I went back to the realtor that sold my parents the house where we were going to lose it. I said, remember me? He said, no. I said, remember me. Write down my name. I said, I'm going to take away as much business as I can from you. Wow. And I promise you. I looked him dead in the eye. He didn't remember me. As I was walking out, he remembered my parents' name. And he said the name. He said, are you X, Y, and Z son? I said, yeah. I looked him dead in the eye. I said, remember me. I promise you, I will take the clients away from you. I will do it. And I did it. One by one, and I'm out to make sure agents like that do not exist.
Yeah, at that moment, you're feeling kind of helpless. The person that you trusted that was supposed to be a professional in the field, they failed you. So who do you turn to? Who can you trust at that point?
And that's why I think I take things to heart when it comes to real estate, because I know that road that my parents were, walking in. And
you've seen the worst.
I've seen the worst. I've seen my mom's stress level, my dad's stress level, and how many pounds of fruit are you possibly going to sell to raise another $60,000 to buy a home? We're not talking a job that pays extremely well. We're talking a day to day. So I take it to heart. So I dissect everything.
That's a really difficult experience. So the fact that you were able to apply yourself to try and make a change at that time, it really shows how long it's been that you've built this career. Even before you were selling houses, while you were just at the bank working, you were still developing this career without even really knowing it, just for your parents' sake.
Yeah. It's funny. I kind of started things early in my life. I was sweeping the floors at the cafeteria in Glendale Adventist when I was like 14 years old. And then they found out I was 14. They had to let me go. And then I worked at JCPenney, Banana Republic, Kensington Luggage, things like that. And, your typical day-to-day jobs. But I saw everything, I saw everything. So that's why I can kind of adapt as much as I possibly can to any income. Some people say, I don't think I make enough to buy a house. No, you make enough to buy a house that is within your budget.
Yes.
But people have this perception like, no, you need to make X amount to buy a house. Not really,
That's one of the things that a lot of people who are immigrants to this country don't fully understand, because in other countries, they might not have loans, or they might have really different loans. When we came here, my mom tells us now, she's like, when we had first come, she's like, I could have never imagined that we would buy a house. She's like, everyone would just tell us, no, like, you have to be a millionaire here to buy a house in America. And she fully believed it. And she had no reason to not trust those close people, didn't look into it herself. She barely spoke the language. And then she's like, you guys grew up and you opened my eyes to what I could have done back then. She's like, I wish I had someone like that to help me understand everything, to teach me that it's really not that difficult to buy a home, especially if you consider we came to America over 20 years ago. So over 20 years ago, buying a house, especially in our area, you could have probably bought a 4 or 5 bedroom house for what, like $100K?
Yeah, it was like a dream. If you push someone to buy, is it you pushing them into the wrong direction? Are you supposed to push as a realtor? Are you supposed to push at all?
I don't think you can do that.
You can't. But if you don't push someone, and I think maybe the word push is harsh, encourage, motivate, positive reinforcement. What word do you want to use? Because we can alter the words and say, hey, you know what? We're not pushing them. We're
if you educate them, it's different.
Agreed. And I think that's where everything falls into. Some people say, hey, you know what? They don't want that house. So, we shouldn't really, push for it. Well, pushing for it means you're pushing someone when they don't want to maybe necessarily do something, or you're surprising them, you're pushing them, or however which way you want to look at it. But like you said, if you sit down and tell them, listen, let's compare your options. If you buy this house, you can be able to, make another, dwelling unit, rent it out, which will offset X amount of your income. Or you can buy a condo or a townhome where you can't rent any part of it unless you're going to Airbnb and rent out a single room, which again, it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
When you lay down the options for them, it's a world of a difference. Some people say, hey, Ruth, I want to buy a condo. I said, why? They're like, what do you mean? I said, why?
They think it'll be cheaper.
They think it'll be cheaper. Then when you tell them, hey, there's something called a HOA, right? Homeowners Association. I can run anywhere from X amount to X amount. They're like, well, I'm like, why have you considered taking that dollar amount, adding it to your monthly payment, hence increasing your loan amount, hence increasing your purchase power? Then they sit back. Did I push them? Did I reinforce? What? No, I educated them.
Yeah.
And the problem with a lot of agents is they're order takers. Glendale, okay. Panorama City, okay. How much? Okay. I'll send you. No, what do you mean? You just left out 50 other cities that fall in between it.
Ask them why.
Ask them why.
Some people don't consider it because they think it's unsafe. But as a realtor, you might know the facts.
You go to a doctor, they say, this is what I'm going to prescribe you. Take it once a day. And then there's another doctor that says, show me where it hurts. You're like, here, how often does it hurt? Once a week, twice a week? Is it when you sleep, or is it when you wake up? Is it after you eat or before you eat? Is it when you do physical activities? They ask you so many questions. You're like, you know what? I like this guy. Or I like this, woman. She asks a lot of questions.
They come down to it.
They're trying to understand everything before they prescribe something. But some of these agents, they're like, well, I'm going to send you 50 listings. I found 50 of them. 50 what?
Yeah.
You don't know what they're looking for. You can't just offer.
And you're just going to overwhelm the client at that point.
Yeah, you're asking the client to be a realtor.
Yeah.
Rather than you doing the job and filtering it down and funneling everything.
Yeah.
So
I remember maybe 15 to 20 years ago, I was talking to someone, and I was a kid at the time, but I was talking to someone and they were telling me how their realtor says, yeah, just find listings online and tell me when you can see it. And when you get there, I'll give you the code and you just look at the house yourself and tell me what you like and we can put in an offer. And so this person was literally their own real estate agent. And also when it came down to it, a couple years past, they told me, they're like, I regret not getting the first home I saw. It was just pricier. But if a realtor had been there with him, he could have shown him that house had not only a huge garage space where his family could have lived in, the extended family, but also it had the back house and it had a pool house separately. So now that he looks at it, now that he has all the information, he's learned, whether it's from YouTube or from other people that are doing the same things, he's like, I could have made so much money off that house, but the realtor didn't come with me. I just looked at what was most affordable and I bought that.
You know, it's funny. Everyone thinks that you just take an exam and then you become a real estate agent. And then whoever sells the most houses is the better realtor, or, you know, so on and so forth, right? If you hire a real estate agent that says, you know, here's a great house, they send you 50 houses, right? And then you have to look through them, tell them which one you like, they show you the house, so on and so forth. But if I send you 50 houses and then I mark one specific house and I say, hey, this is the ugliest house on the list of 50 homes, probably in the worst condition, I think you might want to consider buying this.
And you give
they're gonna look at you and like, how you're crazy, right? You're serious, right? Yeah, I'm serious. Let me tell you why. The zoning will allow you to build X amount of, you know, homes on it, and you can rent it out. And heck, if you don't have the money to build a home, you might want to buy it now, because I don't think the homeowner knows the the potential of this property. And then we'll put it right back on the market and sell it for X amount, or wait a little and then sell it to an investor who does have the money to develop. Now the game changes. But what changed in that entire scenario? You sent the same 50 houses I sent. What changed? What changed is that...
It's the informed advice.
It's the informed advice is that I know more than your realtor. I'm always going to strive to know more than your realtor. It's just the way that it is.
Yeah,
you know, and I think that's what people don't do as much.
Yeah. And when you know your client, there's some people that might not want that long-term game. So when you know your client and when you know they're in it for long-term revenue or passive income, whatever it is, then you kind of know how to present these homes to them. I know a lot of people right now, younger people who are just getting married and buying homes, and they just want that Instagram ready home. They don't care about the ADU. They don't care about long-term in 5 to 10 years. How can I build this house to be that Instagram home that I've always dreamed to have? They just want that instant satisfaction. And no one sits down with them to tell them, hey, sure, that might work now, but not only are you guys going to be spending every single dime that you make every single month, but then in the future, if your income doesn't change at work, which it probably won't change that much, then what are you going to do? This is just the life. You work your butt off just to pay off this house, to post it on Instagram. Now, if you have someone to inform you what you could do with another property and start making money off of that, then in the future, buy that big property. Don't care about how much you're spending, whatever it is. Then it just changes the game for them. It also changes their mentality, the way they look at their jobs, the way they look at how they can make income in the future. All of a sudden, they're thinking of investing. They're not just thinking of buying a home just to impress people.
Yeah, and I think you hit it on the nail. And the thing, it's a very rare, I don't want to say rare because maybe it's not that rare, but it's a skill. It's a trait to have. Like, for example, one thing that, you know, I do is I'll literally dissect your entire life in terms of finances go. What do you drive? How much is it? When did you buy it? How many years left on your auto loan? Can we refi it, extend the term, increase or decrease the monthly payment? Take that contribution for the, you know, whatever's left and add it to the month. I'll dissect your file so much that I guarantee you by the time I'm done with it and I hand it over to you, you're going to be scratching your head and no one can find a flaw. Nobody will find a flaw in what I've done.
I've never heard that about how you're thinking of how you can change their current payments to give them more income to spend on the house. Yeah.
And the thing is, by the time I'm done with a client, I never want them to sit with someone else in the same field and say, nah, no, this person can't compare. I need them to say, like, no competition.
Yeah.
And when I say that, I'm not saying about me, I'm saying whoever that agent is that's thinking like this, that's the end goal, right? It's very important for me personally I can't explain it. I love this business. No question about it, because I've seen the worst days, you know, with my family, but I've seen the best days with clients that are saying, Harout, like, this is insane. There's no way I would have thought I would have purchased a house, let alone get it at this rate or whatever. They'll never forget you. I sure as heck haven't forgotten my, realtor. And then, I didn't forget the person who, delivered my, children.
Yeah.
I'll never forget the doctor.
It's almost the same feeling.
Yeah. I'll never forget the doctor and I'll never forget my realtor ever, and, I can't tell you the satisfaction. I mean, I love what I do. I love what I do, and I'm damn good at it. I'm
It shows.
super good at it. Yeah.
It shows. And just with you telling me the things that you do to differentiate yourself as a realtor, it shows that you're also good at it, not just that you love it. You're not only taking your own time, but you're thinking of how you can help change the client's situation. It's not just, you don't have the money, I'm not going to work with you. No, it's this is how you can change your finances. And maybe in a couple months or maybe next year, you come back to me and we buy that house. So it's long-term for you. It's not just short-term. How can I benefit from this transaction?
On my wedding day, I was on Craigslist in the limo looking for just cars, right? And then I found a car and I purchased the car before I got to the banquet hall.
Oh my God.
And then when I purchased it, I took photos of it and sold it before I went on my honeymoon. I actually paid for my honeymoon.
How did your wife feel about this, first of all?
I tried to hide it, but she knew. My mind's always running. It's always thinking, and she's been super supportive. I've been with her since the age of 16, and she's my backbone. I mean, literally A to Z. We have 3 beautiful kids, and supportive always. And I think that even like athletes, right? You look at for example, basketball player. They're gone X amount of months out of the year. I mean, not everyone can fill those shoes. I mean, those are some tough shoes to fill. You right as a significant other to whether you're in the WNBA or the NBA, whatnot. That person's gone for X amount of months out of the year. You have to accept that person for who they are because that's the dream that they've had. And my wife, I think, knows that this is the dream that I have. And we actually both started out as realtors. And of course, the motherly duties kick in. And without that, I can't do what I do. So it's a yin and yang. But she's extremely supportive. And I think that's something that you touched on. It's very, very important.
I think that's why you haven't needed a team for this long. She was your team the whole time.
I cannot do what I do without her. There is no question. There is no Harout without, Nar and hopefully there is no Nar without Harout, but nevertheless, she still till this day is my bread and butter when it comes to real estate. She knows her stuff inside and out, supports me, escrows this. I mean, you name it. I can't do what I do without her. It's impossible. I think what she does is harder than what I do. Like with the kids, there's no question about it. Love her to death, and I'm not just here on the podcast saying it, but I've been with her since high school. We went to prom together, and high school sweethearts. But at the same time, I think life throws a lot of challenges your way, and marriage throws a lot of challenges your way, and to stay focused, like to have an argument with your wife about something, family related, and I have it all the time. As a matter of fact, there was a post that I posted in San Francisco with my wife. But before that, we had an argument, and then I said, let's just get out of here, and just go, have a drink or something, eat something, and just forget about it. We were actually with friends, like couples. And then on the post I wrote, by the way, my wife and I argued just before we took this photo.
That's so funny.
Because that was raw. That's what it is.
Yeah.
But
there's nothing fake about it.
Nothing fake about it. And there's no need to be. I can't tell you that I never argue. It's impossible. But to argue with your, significant other, friends, family, whoever it may be, and then to get out of the house and try to go do a video like, hey guys, it's Harout Aloyan, aka the Closer. How do you put that energy out there? But at times you're gonna have to do it.
Yeah, you have to.
So
in every career, it doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah, and I see some people get discouraged a lot of times with a lot of things. So it's very important to kind of keep that in mind.
And a lot of people, if you look at some of the most successful people, when you talk to them, they have really terrifying lives. You would never know because they don't let you show. They don't let that show because what's important to them is their career. So when they're at work, they leave everything. They find a way to disconnect. They find a way to be okay with that for a little while they try to excel in what's more important to them, the success of their career. We can't just all sit back and use our lives as an excuse, or else no one would be successful. No one has that perfect life. No one has perfect weeks. No one has perfect days even.
Yeah, no, I think that the moment you accept these things, I think it gets easier and easier. But I think at the same time, the one thing I think about daily, if you were to ask me what's the one thing that I think about daily, every single day, and everyone who knows me knows this, every single day I think about kids that are fighting cancer.
Oh my goodness.
If you ask anybody that knows me, what does this guy get most emotional about, or you will stop me in my tracks in what I'm thinking or what I'm saying.
Is there a reason why this is something daily for you? Why it's personal?
I have 3 kids. I think that alone touches
It's the
you.
worst case scenario.
Yeah, well, I had a cousin at age 16. She passed. Woke up in the morning
sorry for
feeling
that.
bad. But the reason why I say this is because they're so innocent, but at the same time, we argue and stress over the smallest things. I have a client that says, I'm upset that I didn't get this house with the other agent, and now I want to work with you or whatever. I said, listen, there's kids, dying of, or I don't say dying, fighting cancer, and
Compare that to what you're complaining about.
First let's accept that we're in a really good scenario, but let's make it better.
Yeah.
So I think about that every day. I don't fear a declined offer. I don't fear losing a house. I don't fear anything. I just want that to somehow be solved and resolved and fine. So
you do have to focus on the positive though, because I know exactly what you're talking about. I used to do cancer research.
Yeah.
So every day it felt like, because we didn't have a schedule, it was salary. So why are we leaving early when there's literally people's lives depending on the work that we're doing?
Yeah.
So some people wouldn't leave the lab before 10 p.m. And that's not healthy for them, but you're just thinking, oh my God, like what if I can actually find something that'll help just one person, just one child, whoever it is, but that really does tear you down. So you do have to also focus on the good. The work that I'm doing will benefit these people. Or in your case, maybe the work that you're doing, the money you're making, you can give a certain percentage to cancer research to make yourself feel lighter.
See, there's it hits a soft, spot, because I saw a real estate agent market the fact that if you buy a home from us, we'll contribute a portion, quote unquote, portion of it to Children's Hospital.
Okay.
Listen, you can't make $30,000 and donate $500.
Yeah.
Don't sell
at least 10%.
Real estate based stuff. If you're gonna do it, just be quiet and do it behind the scenes.
Yeah.
We don't need to know about it. Just contribute whatever you're gonna contribute. I'm sure when you donated money to whatever cause you did or I did, we didn't go online and say, hey, here's a $500 check. You do it out of the goodness of your heart. You don't put, you put $1 to buy a candle at a church, or $5 or $100, whatever it is. You don't advertise that. You don't put that on, social media saying, hey, you just do it out of the goodness. It defeats the purpose. And I think you're absolutely right. Keeping it, positive is very important. But also, if you're successful, think of it this way: the harder you work, the more successful you are, the more you'll be able to kind of give back. Right?
Exactly.
And I think we all have a duty, to.
Although I don't think there's anything bad about sharing that a portion would go to cancer if it is a big enough portion where it'll make a difference. Every person that chooses to buy from your team.
Of course.
So if you're literally donating 40%, 30%, that's actually a pretty big chunk from every sale, then I'm referring everyone your way so that 20 or 30% or whatever it is of your income goes to research.
Make it fair, make it so that it's a difference maker.
Amount.
It's a difference maker. Yeah. Disclose the amount, make it something that will make a difference, So
and that's not to bash on anyone. I'm sure it's pure-hearted to donate that money. But if that's the focal point of your business, if that's part of your marketing plan, make it a large enough amount where it really makes a difference.
Yeah. And again, touching on everything, marketing and what you do, I think all of this plays a factor. Some people do what they do because they want luxury cars and name brand jewelry and whatever. My goal literally is obviously to retire early, even though I don't think that it'll ever happen because I just don't see myself sitting and not doing anything. But my goal with each one of my clients is to figure out a solution, an equation, better yet. How can I get them to be one step closer to retirement? When you're able to put a scenario together and present it to your client and say, listen, I think we should do this. After that, let's do this. Once you do this, let's do this. So
you fully are like some kind of, I don't know, it's not a real estate agent. I don't think we can't call you that because real estate agents, all they do is sell the home. You're really thinking of their pocket long-term as well. You're trying to make them money, not just have them drop some money and make a quick paycheck.
I get so detailed that, my architect and engineer who I've worked with for quite a few years now, I will literally take the client, sit down with the architect and draw, a home, whether it be a second dweelling. We'll talk to the engineer, figure out a cheap cheaper way to do it. We'll talk to, the contractors in terms of the, framing, foundation, and I'll have the subcontractors for the drywall, the electrical, the plumbing, the roof, the solar, the whole 9 yards. And I'll try to sum up everything to say, okay, how much money do you have? Just tell me how much money you have. I don't ask you why. Just tell me.
Yeah.
And let me just figure it out. Once I figure it out and I paint a pretty picture and the math makes sense and I give it to them, they kind of look back like, oh my God, like no, this can't be real.
Yeah.
Like, no, this is
You
too
really
much for
can't
me.
imagine how much you could do with a small amount of money. People keep thinking they need these huge investments to be able to get some kind of return, but that's really not true.
I think you have to be. Strategic, super strategic. I'll give you an example. I called my doctor. I said, "Hey, my annual checkup time." So in the morning, I went, gave blood, I don't have insurance, so I was paying cash. I said, "How much is it?" Quest Diagnostics, like $802 for the blood work, like 5 different things. Okay, and then I get a text message, and then right after I leave. It was one of the employees at the doctor's office said, "Harout, if you use this site, it's actually $100.
Wow.
Just because your doctor didn't refer you went straight to the site. Instead of paying $800, it was $100. So I called my wife. I'm like, "Hey, Nod, before you get the Quest Diagnostics, like for the a blood work, fill this out." The girl's saying it's like $102. She fills it out. She pays $102 instead of $800.
Incredible.
So can you say that knowledge and being strategic,
it's also knowing the right people.
Because having the money is one thing. You might have $500,000 in your account and say, "Harout, here's the money, do something with it." But if I can't use that $500,000 to its full potential, that $500,000 might be worth 200.
Yeah.
And the 200 might be worth $500,000.
Look at these people that win the lottery. Some of these people are bankrupt in no time at all.
Yeah.
And it's because not only are they not used to having the money, they don't know what to do with it, but also because they just use it in a very dumb way. They blow it on one thing. They go and buy an island just because they can. They don't think, what is that island going to do? Is it going to make some kind of return on the money? What happens when I run out of this money? Did I use it on things that are going to continue bringing me income? Yeah. So a lot of people who have an incredible amount of luck don't know how to use it. So at the end of the day, they call themselves unlucky, but it was their own choices that brought them to the end result.
Agreed.
So for your Instagram, we're talking strategy now. Everything in your life seems like it's very strategically planned.
Because I'm not going to tell you all my secrets.
But do you have a strategy for Instagram?
I think my strategy personally is me, and I think this goes for everyone. Everyone brings something different to the table when it comes to Instagram. They have their own personality. They have their own skill. Whatever they bring to the table. I think my strategy is I want to put my money where my mouth is, but at the same time where my knowledge is. I think my strategy is I will get the job done. I will close your transaction. You will not find anyone that's going to be able to compete with me in my knowledge and my work ethic. I think that's who I am, and that's what I want. What I want to portray and what I want to market.
And you show that through your personal stories while you're filming yourself.
I think I do that through not just my personal stories, but also the houses that I bring to the market. I tend to do more of a cribs, overview. I think a lot of agents, if you know us on Instagram, they're taken back by walking into a home and saying, "Hey guys, let me show you the property. You have porcelain flooring, you have a 3/4 inch drywall, you got copper plumbing, you got 4-inch recessed slide, you got a 200 amp panel, you got X amount of solars, you got a X amount of green, a slopage for the water." I can go through the entire house A through Z until I get to the backyard, and even then see if there's a power pole in their backyard, in terms of easements and so on and so forth. And a lot of the Instagram, you'll see people doing these quick shots, like very fast forward, because they don't have that knowledge. Maybe they might have the confidence to be in front of the camera. And then I've just seen some stuff that's mind boggling, and I hope it stops, but it is what it is. I've seen people with Louis Vuitton, bags or purses and Dolce & Gabbana, whatever you want to call it, on their lap. And the photo has nothing to do with, the quote, live life to its fullest.
Yeah.
You have a name brand on your knee, has nothing to do with living life to the fullest. I feel like they've run out of things. you can't run out of things as an agent. You got to focus on real estate. You can't focus on anything else. And people lose sight of that.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I agree with that completely. And it seems like with those videos that you're talking about, now that I'm kind of paying attention to those because of the Pocket Network.
I get embarrassed. I'm not going to lie. I look at it, I get embarrassed.
It just feels like the photographer is deciding what to do. It's the same thing over and over again. There's no differentiation.
Yeah, and you know, during an event or a wedding, whatever it may be, I'm going to take wedding as an example.
Yeah.
When my photographer during my wedding would say, "Okay, guys, you know, chin this way," or you know, put your chin down, and camera guy's looking at me too because he knows. But you know, they say like chin this way, chin down, you know, smile. You know, the photo's never going to come out the way that it should.
Yeah.
But the photos where the more
the candid photos,
that are more natural, that you know, I mean, they're candid, right? Those are the ones that I look at and I'm like, that's a nice photo. And I think that that's what needs to happen with a lot of agents. They're trying too hard, way too hard, you know.
So focus on your knowledge, and then everything else will naturally show that.
Yeah. They come up with these Google image, you know, quotes: "Be a lioness" or "Be a lion," or believe in. It has nothing to do with the fact that your client didn't get that house.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the house at all, about real estate, about mortgage rates, about, you know, nothing. The lioness is not here right now.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's too much. I think they get lost in these Instagram, you know, quotes and things like that. I think they need to stay more focused.
Yeah, for sure. Focusing on what you want for your future so that you take the steps now and it's not too late 5 years from now when you look back and say, what has changed in my career? Yeah. So just speaking more on that, what should we expect for Harout's future? What do you have planned? What are you strategically working towards?
I feel like I'm at the Oscars, but my personal goal is to take this to the next level, and when I say next level is obviously networking, you know, growing my network, growing my relationship with a lot of the amazing realtors that are out there, and there's a lot of them that I'm grateful for. You know, working with in the past and currently working with, but increase, you know, building the network, but knowing a lot and getting a lot of listings, I think are very beneficial. But from me, you're going to get the latest. From me, you're going to get the most strategic. From me, you're going to get, you know, hard work. I mean, I don't stop, like, to a point that if you ask me what's one of the issues in my marriage, is the fact that my wife tells me I work too much. I mean, this is like a ongoing daily issue. I work from 9 to 1:30 a.m., 7 days a week.
Wow.
There is no Sunday. You'll see me, you know, you'll see every Sunday, Saturday or Sunday, I'm with the kids by the pool. But what people don't see is the moment that I record the kids, I'm right back by the laptop again.
So is that something you're trying to change?
No, I love it. I don't think I could change it because I think that the client has put their trust in me. I can't rest until I find them that home. I can't.
But is there a compromise? Like, is there a way that you can say, okay, so this 1 hour that I'm going to spend with the kids, they're going to fully have my attention. The clients can wait 1 hour. The house won't sell in the next hour.
Don't get me wrong. We went to, you know, Disney World in Florida. And I did have my laptop with me at Disney World.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
of course you did.
Yeah, I had my laptop with me. I took an Uber back to the hotel to write up an offer.
Okay.
So I left the family at Disney World. I went to Uber to
naturally Uber, what you do
to write up an offer, and then I came back and I was FaceTiming the client.
Yeah.
There are scenarios. I mean, don't get me wrong. If the client says, or the seller says, you can submit the offer in 3 days, I'm okay. I'm good.
Yeah.
I can submit it in 3 days. I can have my family time. But the scenarios where it's like we're reviewing offers in 3 hours and my client barely saw that house and we have 2 hours to write it up and send it.
Yeah, of course that's different.
Yeah, but the ones that I know it's not a fire drill, I can knock it out like in 2 days or whatever. Yes, I try everything possible to have a Sunday.
I think the solution to this is getting more people on your team. Obviously, you train them in a way where they reflect your business methods, strategies, just how they are as a human. The personality also is a reflection of you. So I'm not saying don't focus on that, but maybe get more of those people. And I'm sure they could do the same work. Maybe not as great as you, but to a level where it's acceptable for you. And then that way you have time for yourself, for your wife more often. I'm sure you make time for her and the babies, but just more often so that you get to enjoy life.
Yeah. Every night, we're sitting down, we're watching a show. Most recently, which one?
How do you have time for shows?
We watch an episode a day. So that 45 minutes, 50 minutes. I forgot the name of it. The most popular one on Netflix. It was on the thing. Pizza.
Money Heist?
No. That one I finished.
Stranger Things.
Yeah, Stranger Things.
Okay.
Yeah, Stranger Things. Yeah. Every day we watch one episode. We're solid, on that. But I just love what I do. I can't explain it. I feel like we're talking now, you and I, right? We've been talking, and it's been amazing. If you ask me, Harout, is there anything?
You're itching to answer clients?
I'm itching to work. I want to know what just came on the market. I want to know, what there is.
This is the kind of agent we all want. This is who I want selling my house. This is who I want helping me buy a house.
I just love it. I really do.
Yeah. And with the long-term goals as well. That's also something very important where you're able to basically paint out a picture of what your clients can do. It's not just we end at this transaction. And I think you also doing that opens the door to just future relations with this client. They're going to assume that it's not just over for me and my agent now, that in the future, they will be helping me out. Even if maybe they're not ready to buy another house, just calling you and saying, what was that you said? What should I add to my house? Who did you say I could go to for this? And that way you're always at the back of their mind.
Yeah. I feel like I'm like a 411, when it comes to real estate, because with me, when someone buys a house, they're like, Harout, we need a tile guy. I got 7 tile guys. I got 5, framers, foundation
backup
guys.
For everything.
I got everything because I don't want you to ever be in a scenario where you look at me and you don't see me as the go-to guy. I want to be the go-to guy. I want everything. You look at a bank and we would ask our managers, what do you want from us? As bankers or as managers, they say we want to be the full financial, guru or we want to be the go-to, bank, where we offer a variety of, I want to be the go-to realtor where it's like, you start with me and you will end with me. From buying your house to building your family, to building your home, to remodeling, to selling. Yeah.
We need to get you as a mentor. We need to get you on an advisory board. That'll take up a lot of your time. That'll definitely keep you busy, but it'll also give you some time to be able to relax. You physically relax, sit at home and do that. So maybe when the Pocket Network, when we release our advisory board, people can pay you for advice for serious people that are there ready to accept.
I'm so competitive. I don't give out too much. But even the agents that call and say, Ruth, we want you to mentor us. I say, listen, you got to give to get.
But also at the same time, just because you're giving them the same advice, I can guarantee you all of this advice you gave me, if I applied everything perfectly, I would not be as successful as you. I don't like selling homes. That's just not the route for me. So I don't see how I could be successful.
You know what it is? There's a lot of motivational seminars. I'm not going to give names. Very popular. Instagram, Facebook. Yeah. We're going to have it at
it hypes you up.
It hypes you up, right? And some of these things that I hear, I promise you, for me, the bigger the crowd, the more comfortable I am in terms of public speaking. But I feel like some of these public speakers, they made things up as they got to the scene. Like, for example, they're driving, they see a family, they see a car, and they see, the sun. Right? They just see these 3 things. I promise you, sometimes I feel like they get to the, auditorium or wherever, and they say, you know what? You got to be motivated. You got to stay motivated each and every day. When that sun comes up, you got to get to work. What are you working for? Your family.
Just
do it for your family. And what do you need? All you need is a car. You don't need a luxury car. So the moment the sun comes up, think of the most important thing in your life. And some of you, may think of your family. And all you need is that one car, that one truck. And then they're like, oh my God, son, car, and family. They jot it down. And then he says, repeat after me. Son, car, and everyone writes it down. If the solution was that simple, everyone in that conference better be a
They've
top
already
performer.
paid that money that you see.
After
they're
them, another
serious.
1,000 are coming, and then there's another one in Chicago, and another one in New York, another one in California, and Texas.
Yeah.
And some people attend those things. Don't get me wrong.
And for some people, it works because you are able to get that one piece of advice and apply it and repeat and be consistent. And maybe it wasn't necessarily that. That's just the push that you needed. And if that works for you, great. But at the same time, a lot of these people that I think you're talking about that give these talks, they also have a lot of really great free content online that would work amazing. They would work wonders on your career if you applied it.
That's their job. They need to come up with something to say, even though it may not be,
it's not the gold mine that you think it
Yes,
is.
it is. It just, that's what they need to do.
One-on-one mentoring is better, I think.
Yeah, a comedian has to have jokes. They don't have jokes. They don't sell tickets. They don't make money. So, a lot of these public speakers, not all, but a lot of them, I feel, they don't. And my advices are raw. When I sit down
it's personal also.
It's personal. It's very raw. It's things that you cannot find in a book. It's impossible for you to find the things that I share with some of the, agents in a book. By the time I give them a scenario, say, how do you, overcome this obstacle? By the time I'm done, they're massaging their head because there's no way they would have thought of that. And then,
well, there are some things you just said now that I would have never thought that an agent would even offer. So I see it. I see the benefit of that.
That came from. Yeah, but I don't know. I love it. I love it.
It shows. And I hope you continue doing what you're doing. And I hope we get you back because there's a ton of questions that I had for you just based on some light Insta stalking that I did. No, actually, it was a great podcast. That's the reason I didn't get through the questions. If I didn't get through the questions, that's how I know it was some good quality content. It was a genuine person, genuine interaction. I actually watch all the podcasts. I don't say this to everyone. So no, we don't say anything to make anyone feel good. We're trying to be very transparent here. At the Pocket Network, we try to model what the same advice that we're giving agents, and also not just because it's the right business practice, but we want our business to thrive as well. So we're trying to stick to the advice that you guys are giving us, the advice that we're reading in our amazing books, and we have the book reviews every month. So genuinely, I think what you're doing is great, and I can't wait to see what you're doing and what you continue to do. And God forbid we do have a recession, I want to see how Harout adapts to it, the strategic approach you take to it, and what you can teach us from that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a learning curve, for all of us. But one thing that I do appreciate is, when you called me and I said, "Is there anything specific?" You said, "You know what? We're not going to script anything. We're just going to, go. We're going to dive right into it." Yeah. So that's exactly what we did, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate you having me, on your show. I've been watching you. I've been keeping up, and
perfect.
I see your, fast growth, and. It was an honor. I appreciate you definitely reaching out to me. It was fun.
Thank you. We're definitely going to have you back.
Think about it.
Perfect.
Make sure you don't break that promise.
Perfect. No, we won't. We'll definitely have you back. And for everyone at home, make sure you comment, reach out to Harout on Instagram. He's on his phone until 1:30 a.m. So feel free. Yes, sold by Harout. And we will also link all of his social media down below and message him, ask him questions, and obviously message us. Tell us what you want to see in the future, and everything that you hear during this podcast, make it applicable. Don't make this a waste of time for you. Make sure that you make the changes to your career because, as we always say, change begins at home.